So, Neil, let's just get this clear in terms of how likely an actual delay is, because Theresa May is still trying to negotiate this deal and hoping to get it through Parliament.
Absolutely, and I do think that an extension is now far more likely. Theresa May has conceded that she doesn't have the majority effectively to get through what she needs to do, but within the time that she needs to do it, particularly when she needs to get the agreement of the European Union as well. But really what yesterday showed us again that government policy is being driven by internal infighting into within the Conservative Party, and it's swinging, depending on who's in the ascendancy, between the European Research Group and the pro-EU ministers. And this was a win for the pro-EU ministers, taking the prospect of no deal potentially off the table. It's something that the ERG is vehemently against and will oppose. And again, we're going to see in the next few weeks that the Conservative Party will fight between itself to determine what the UK policy is. So we may see a reversal of this yet again later on.
Lucy, let's bring you into the conversation. I read one cracking line from our opinion columnist this morning. Everybody's locked in Brexit purgatory if indeed they do go to an extension. Is this the worst case scenario, an extension, or would the worst case scenario be that hard Brexit?
I think the hard Brexit is definitely the worst case scenario as far as markets are concerned, and the fact that Armageddon has been averted, at least in the short term, is you can see the reaction from sterling. I don't think you're going to get much reaction or major money or funds shifting around at this stage, though, and so most of the action will be in the currency.
Lucy, just wanted to pick up on what we were just talking about sterling, and you think this is going to be the reaction function from here. In terms of whether sterling gets capped, even though we've seen these gains, what are the implications for you for the FTSE 100? We were talking earlier off air about how it's underperformed even this year.
Yes, well, it's underperformed last year. It's continuing to underperform this year in the bounce. So it's up about 6%, and the US is up about 12%. And the investors are just waiting to see what happens. And so the more certainty we get, the number of scenarios being whittled down, then there's more likelihood of big funds shifting. But at the moment, I think everyone is still really going to wait and see. As far as the earnings are concerned, obviously you've seen the impact on FTSE was down yesterday because sterling is up, because of the big overseas earnings component.
Neil, there's a lovely line that used by a lot of the market this morning, that we're recalibrating our Brexit risk. To that end, there is the Labour possibility of a second referendum, but by the math that I've looked at over the past couple of days, that doesn't look like a hugely statistically likely probability right now. So we've got to look at either a delay as being the more probable outcome, or indeed her deal.
Morning, Matt. I absolutely agree. There doesn't seem to be enough support in Parliament at the moment for a second referendum. Again, that could change later on. I mean, there is a possibility that we end up with an election the way the Conservative Party is riven with infighting, and we need to see what ends up with the deal, whether Geoffrey Cox, who's the Attorney General, who's in Brussels at the moment, can find a way around the backstop in Northern Ireland, can find a solution to the problems with that, and that will determine the future course in terms of whether this deal gets passed and whether an extension is needed.
Neil, explain to us how this tactical gamble, as some people have been calling it, could actually bring the pro-Brexit ministers, parts of May's party, the ERG, back on side. Absolutely.
They feel that they had to keep the idea of no Brexit on the table because they would force the EU to give concessions. They felt that the EU would back down on no-deal Brexit because it would affect Ireland so hugely. Now that may be taken away, they may fall back into line and go, this is the best we can get. And while we don't like this, it's preferable to no Brexit at all, and therefore they may row in behind the deal now. Having said that, they'll probably kick and scream a bit along the way until that time happens, and this is all running down the clock to the last moment, and then you're going to see shifts in patterns, and they may well at that stage row in behind the Prime Minister Theresa May, and certainly that looks like what she's betting on at the moment.